And I'm not afraid to say it.
And I'm not afraid to say it. And I'm not afraid to say it. And I'm not afraid to say it. And I'm not afraid to say it. And I'm not afraid to say it. And I'm not afraid to say it. And I'm not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are listening to Black Westchester Presents, the People Before Politics radio show, every Sunday night, 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. I am A.J. Woodson. Black by popular demand. We have the man with the plan, Damon K. Jones.
Yes, yes, yes.
In the place to be. And we have the lovely Lorraine Lopez.
Hey, hey, hey.
And, of course, we have our guests. Damon, tell them who's here today.
He is the East Coast representative of the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Student Minister Hafeez Muhammad. Let's give him a round of applause. A friend of the show, my brother, for over 20 years.
Yeah, we pulled up. I seen all the people here. I thought Farrakhan was in here for a minute. I was like,
he is here. That's right.
He is here.
I was like, yo.
Yes, sir. I am Farrakhan.
That's right.
I'm with Farrakhan.
That's right.
And
That's
I'm here
right.
to defend Farrakhan.
That's right.
And represent.
That's right.
Absolutely,
And that's
absolutely.
Abdul Hafeez Muhammad.
Oh, I'm
the Abdul, brother.
I'm sorry, sir.
Praise be
No
to
doubt.
Allah.
Oh, wait. Oh, doctor. Brother doctor. Abdul Hafeez Muhammad.
Well,
Gotta
now,
get it right.
Now, is it Doctor, Reverend Doctor, or Doctor?
No, it's Minister Doctor.
Minister
We're gonna
Doctor.
say it.
That's how you
Just-
say it.
But I like to
just
say
minister.
brother.
No,
I've
no,
known him
just
for
so
so
I have
long.
the
I
right-
like to throw the brother
Just so I
in
have the right
I'm your
terminology.
brother. Your brother and
yes, sir.
servant.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Just so
sir.
I have the
Love
right
you, man.
terminology when I write it. Minister Doctor. That's all right. There you go. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yo, we got a great show today. We're gonna touch upon a variety of topics. As you've seen recently in the press, black officials and celebrities have been asked or been forced or whatever reason
Punked out.
have been to what's the word? How do you put to
Denounce.
denounce? That's the word. They've been asked to denounce the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I've heard people. I've had various conversations with a lot of people. Unfortunately, just like we say about my running politics, a lot of people in our community are misinformed and uninformed, and they don't go further to find out the whole story. They go by what they see and what they hear. You understand what I'm saying? And then they just jump with that, and they're being misfed information and force-fed lies. You know what I'm saying? And then we run with that, and then it's not new. And you know the biggest way the enemy has, they get one of us to denounce another one. I was watching the movie about Ali, and one of the things that disappointed me the most was when they had Jackie Robinson get up there. You know, all he represented as, you know, the first, you know, and all that. Oh, well, I don't know why he won't serve our country, this great country that let us make all this money. Yo, I lost so much respect for him. You know what I'm saying? That, yo, and, you know, he was only going by what they was telling him. Because he really didn't know nothing about Ali. You know what I'm saying? Or what he represented or nothing. He was going by what those people were telling him. And he just jumped up there and got in the camera and, you know, and they do that all the time. They use one of us to try to bring down another one. So this is nothing new, and for it's a shame that we still fall for the same tricks that they've been doing since the beginning. You know,
Well, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything.
everything.
Absolutely,
And,
absolutely.
but the difference this time is the outpouring of defense from the members of the Nation of Islam, but our brothers and sisters in the broader black community
Yes, sir.
who love Minister Farrakhan have been benefited by him and their family members.
Right.
From the streets to the prison life to the highest level of the suites. They began to come out and defend, and there are others who have not. But that's all right. We'll talk about all of that.
Yes, sir.
Now I want to start like all the time, since we said most people don't know. What was the comments? What was it that they're talking about that he allegedly said is the reason to denounce him or this hateful
No, Brother
speech?
AJ, there is no comment. That's my answer. There is no comment. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has never said anything that is anti-Semitic, never said anything that is of hatred, never said anything that is homophobic, xenophobic, all of these labels that they want to call him, never said anything against the LGBTI community. There's an I added to it now. I got it in some recent training.
Right.
And he even mentioned that he has that in his own family at Savior's Day.
Right.
What is it that he have said? They need to say what it is. See, that's the problem.
Right.
They don't want to say what you have an issue with because you would have to defend it.
Right.
Now, of all of the things they charge him, like they did with Jesus in his time 2,000 years ago, they do it today with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. One thing they have never called him is a liar.
Right. I used to write for a magazine called Freedom Rag back in the 90s, and I did a series of articles on black leaders who came out making pro-black statements that were called anti-everything else because it was pro-black. Khalid Muhammad was one, Dr. Ben was another. I can't remember who the other two were, but they had all been, all this negative attention. Their comments were of a pro-black. Like, you can be pro-Jewish, and no one accuses you of being anti-anything else. But anytime you're pro-black, you're automatically, you're you're anti-Semitic, or you're anti the flag, or you're anti-veteran. You got to be anti-something. You know what I'm saying? Only when you're pro-black. And it's not that we anti-anything. We're pro-black. We're speaking up for ourselves, and that's the problem.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, the white man is going down. He said that. What does he mean by that? He's talking about the wickedness of this people. Their foot being on the original and aboriginal people and even the poor whites of this country and this nation. He said, satanic Jews, you're going down. Look what he said, satanic Jews.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
See, they're satanic Muslims, satanic Christians, satanic nationalists.
Right.
But he's talking about what the Bible speaks of. Those who say they are of the synagogue of Satan. I mean, who say they are Jews, but they are of the synagogue of Satan. Satanic Jews who are running things in the country.
Right.
Did Hugh Hefner run things? And when Hugh Hefner died, it's like a linchpin was pulled out in Hollywood. Everything came out about Mr. Weinstein. Was he part of the satanic Jews? Was he a good man with all he did to all of those women?
Wow.
And what he did to one of our beautiful black sisters, as well as the white women? Is Hugh Hefner a good Jew or satanic Jew? Is Larry Flint a good Jew or satanic Jew? Is Bob Guccione a good Jew or satanic Jew? Is the slum landlords in Westchester here good Jews or satanic Jews? In Harlem and in Brooklyn and in Queens and in the Bronx and Staten Island?
Absolutely.
Are the ones that be down on 28th Street and Park Avenue South looking for prostitutes, are they good Jews? Would you call me a good minister if I was out there hanging with the prostitutes trying to be their John?
That's right.
I would not be a good minister.
That's right.
Right.
And so we're saying that these are those who have inordinate power, Brother AJ.
That's right.
They are the managers. They are the agents. And we're the servants. And I'll leave with this point. Our dear brother, Sister Lorraine, Floyd Money Mayweather, was told by Mr. Bob Arum when he wanted to make $100 million for a fight. He said, oh no, you'll never be able to do that. You'll make maybe 30 million, 40 million, but 100 million, you can't do that. Why? Because you get the 100 million. And you give us the 30.
Right.
What did Floyd Money Mayweather do just a few years ago? He held up a check for $100 million and he said, this is my money. Everyone has already been paid. This is what I got. He did it on his own. You know how he did it? He separated from Mr. Arum, and he did for himself. And Floyd Money Mayweather calls the shots and makes his own determinations. That's what we got to do as a people. That's what they're upset about. They're upset about the truth that Minister Farrakhan speaks in his mouth and his uncovering of them. That's what the whole upset is all about. Everything else is distraction.
We got a comment because the person, actually Sandy was like, satanic Jews, you lost me here. And AJ saying, yes, that's right. My God, how many white people are miserable and greedy, and this is targeting of Jews is unacceptable. And I want to address that because I was getting ready to get into that. Understand there's good and bad in everything. When we talk about police brutality, and we talk about the police that are abusing and killing our brothers and sisters, we're not anti-police and saying all police are bad. We're talking about the bad police. You know what I'm saying? And there are good and bad black people. There are good and bad white people. Right now, we are dealing with the bad satanic influenced Jews. That does not mean we are attacking all Jewish people.
Of course it doesn't mean
And I
that.
just want them to be clear.
Yeah, well, I
know
want to say something too. We're addressing an issue or a statement that was hurled out at a black leader. And the history of the Nation of Islam and Minister Farrakhan and Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, the history of the Nation of Islam in the black community goes way, 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 way back. And we can see different. But when something is hurled, and an accusation is hurled, accusations are hurled at me. People say I'm anti-police, right? But I'm not anti-police if I'm speaking for justice of people that have been killed, beaten, shot by police. And the same thing as Minister Farrakhan. I mean, I tell everybody, don't listen to a soundbite. Sit down and listen to a speech, the entire speech, because then you see he's not anti-Semitic because he criticizes Christians. He criticizes his own people, but nobody goes around saying he's anti-black. Nobody goes around saying that he's anti-black politician when he's critical on black politicians and critical on just being a man and handling our manhood. So people don't say he's anti-man or anti-black man or anti-black woman when he's critical on our actions towards ourselves and towards each other. So I mean this conversation is addressing what was hurled at the minister.
That's right.
And what was said. And it was specifically, and Sandy, it was said, this started off by Republicans. Let's get where it all came from. This issue that we're dealing with right now in 2018 was started by Republicans. And then they forced the Democrats to denounce the minister. But these same Republicans, they haven't denounced Donald Trump for grabbing women by the pee.
That's right.
Right? Or calling other countries scumbag countries or whatever. Shithole countries. Right? These are the same Republicans. So it's a level of hypocrisy here also. And I think is as free press, because I consider us free press and a free radio, we got to tell both sides. We just can't hear both sides. And Minister Hafeez being my brother, and I've known him for over 20 years, I had to have him come here and address it on behalf of Minister Farrakhan.
Thank you. Well, let me say this to the caller. With all due respect, we respect the Jewish people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was referring to him in Message to the Black Man when he says, study the operations of the white man. He makes no excuses for his failures. See? He's successful in what he does or in his endeavors. He corrects his mistakes and moves on. He was speaking of the Jewish people. We don't have no disrespect of them. My mother, my friend, with all due respect, cleaned the floors for Jewish families in Canarsie, Brooklyn, over on Kings Highway and Remsen Avenue, Utica. She did that. There were good Jews and there were bad Jews. And when I was around, the bad ones tried to hide their stuff, but I knew what they did when I wasn't around. And the good ones who treated my mother very well, I salute them and thank them. There's good and bad in everything, but I'm saying to you, don't you defend them. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, have called out the synagogue of Satan. These satanic Jews that have this inordinate relationship with the black community. We put out 2 books, and I wish I had brought them. The secret relationship between blacks and Jews. Jewish scholars talking about their own people and their relativeness to calling us 3/5 of a human being. Their relativeness to the slave trade, of which they said they had nothing to do with when they were the merchants, they were the shipholders, they were the ones who sold us. My former family name is a Jewish name. How did I get it if you were not the slave master and my children was not the slave? And we put out a second book because you hide under these names. The secret relations between blacks and Jews, how Jews gain control of the black American economy. They control the finances that flow through us. See, when Neo was in the Matrix, he was off it. the blue pill or the red pill. We're telling you you need to take the blue and the red book. You need both of them to understand this so we can level the playing field. So we want them to come out and accept the challenge from Minister Farrakhan, and we with him to what we charge you with. He, Minister Farrakhan, and we with him are not anti-Semitic, but we charge you with being the satanic Jews, anti-black. Now, deny the charge and challenge us. We black people, get out of the way. Black leaders, get out of the way. Make them come out from the shadows and challenge the truth out of his mouth. And lastly, at Savior's Day, the minister put up the words of the Reverend Billy Graham and what he said in a conversation to former President Nixon about the stranglehold of the Jews, and something has to be done, otherwise the country's going down the tubes. Yet when he died, they put him in the rotunda in the Capitol to lie at state. But this man understood what they were doing to the country. The satanic ones, the good ones speak for themselves. We have met the good ones who greeted the minister and others. I know Jewish people, but they are satanic ones among us, that our rise means their fall.
Yes.
And they're trying to hold on to their hegemony, and that can no longer exist. The black man and woman, the aboriginal people of the earth must go free. We must go free in the Caribbean, in Jamaica, in Trinidad, in Antigua. We must go free in Tobago. We got to go free in Cuba. Or should we go into the history of the gangsters who were Jewish, who ran Cuba and prostitution? They need to stop this. We have an inordinate relationship going on in 2018, and it must be busted up. Deal with the facts that we put out. Answer us. We're not hateful of no group, religious group, ethnic group. We just want our people to enjoy a full and complete freedom. Justice applied equally to all, regardless to creed, class, or color. That's the Muslim program. That's our program, that you can find. And we want equality, equal membership among civilized people. That's what we want for our people and for all human beings.
Absolutely. I just want to say, and I've said this to you, and I know I've said this to Damon before. Mm-hmm. I first became aware of Minister Farrakhan in an episode, I think in the late 80s, on the Phil Donahue show. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those shows where it was just him and about 4 Jewish scholars. Mm-hmm. And it was supposed to, be an attack on him. And when I saw this black man who I didn't know, I saw first couple of things impressed me. He never raised his voice, first off. They was yelling and screaming and all that, and he never raised his voice. He dropped fact after fact after fact. And when got to a point where they could no longer argue with him, when he started then quoting their Jewish scholars to them and saying, your scholars, such and such, naming them and where it was and everything. And these learned men who were calling him, were supposed to be attacking him and were supposed to show how educated they were reduced to name calling and you're still a hate monger and they were like, their whole character, they were supposed to be these educated men. And this black man on this show never raised his voice. He talked even tone. He just dropped fact after fact. I was like, man, who is this dude here? That's like when I first became really aware of who he was. You know what I'm saying? And I was impressed. And the one thing I say about him, and he's one of the few people, and very few, not too many people have this. If you're on if you're walking past and a radio comes on or a TV comes on, mm-hmm. his voice has the power to command attention. Whether you like him or not, you'll stop, even if it's temporarily, just to hear what it is he's talking about because of his voice. And there's a few people that have that, but he has that, and I identified that day. Like he had, because I was walking by us and I just heard his voice, and I stopped and watched. He has that, that gift. That's what it is, that gift. Real quick, I just want to have a lot of people. I just want to give a shout out to some of the people: Caitlin Gleason, Omi Medina, Frank Trulio, Nadine McKenzie. Oh, that's what's the name? The basketball player's mom.
Hello.
Justin Cooper from California, Jason Potter from Pennsylvania, Ken Bright, Chris Breezy, Monty Whitaker from Prince George County and it was that Maryland. Glenn P. Butler, Sandra Cornejo hello, how are you?
Moncada.
There you go. Thank you very much. Thank you, my sister.
Okay.
Sandy Bernardi, Damon, I don't know if it's Bacate, Bacacote, Donna Jackson, Ed Reyes, Caller, Tyler Bailey, Alita Johnson, Joanne Campadani, Jeff Monroe, peace, my brother, Oscar Davis, Lieutenant Dinwiddle, Crystal Fordham, Dagmar
Jimenez. Yeah, that's my
and
girl.
Max Maxwell. Those are the
What's
names.
up, Max?
Hi, Max.
If anybody I didn't name, please forgive me. Charles Stern from the Amani School. Charles,
Hey, what's up,
Well,
Charles?
the money
What's up,
went,
man?
right?
Listen, brother,
Yo,
you got some problems.
Yeah, Charles, we're gonna have to. I wanted to have a show about the charter school, just a charter school show. But I would like to invite you in one of the next couple of weeks, you and your wife, to come up and talk about the
allegations.
The Board of Ethics allegations against the mayor, where he was supposedly given 100,000 plus.
101.
Which is a violation of state education laws. I know your wife, Deborah, has publicly denounced that he's never received any money, and I would like to give y'all from Amani a chance to come up to the show, maybe for half an hour and just, speak your piece and
Whatever you
give your
can
part.
say.
Whatever you can say, because I'm
Right.
not sure if there's a legal thing binding, but I want to open that door for you. So, Charles, hit me, and we'll see if we can make that happen. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. Like we said all the time, you could be doing anything else, but you decide to ride with us. We greatly appreciate you. Go ahead, Damon.
The Million Man March.
Well, first let me say this.
Okay, yes, sir.
Because, AJ went in, and I know you were going to deal with something, then AJ just went on. But I wanted to say assalamu alaikum to you, Brother Damon, and to you, Brother AJ, and Sister Lorraine, and to the People Before Politics family. It's an honor to be back with you again.
Right.
It's been a little while, but I'm
Yes,
honored
sir.
to be here
Yes, sir.
with you on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam, and Muhammad Mosque No. 7, New York City, in the East Coast region.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, brother. And usually we
The
have like a
honors
10,
ours.
15-minute intro.
AJ just jumped
But it was
into
just like,
AJ
I knew.
He just couldn't wait.
I knew that this was going to be a topic-full show. I was like, yo, let's just get right into it. I was like, yo. So, welcome. Thank you for taking your time to come through.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Because
sir.
time to me, like I said, I've had a lot of money. I lost a lot of money. I'll have money again. But time is the one thing that I cannot seem to ever get back. So time is more important to me than money. So I like to thank people for taking their time.
Thank
and
you.
you are very busy with your new position. And to
Thank
take
you.
your time to come
That's
through.
right.
It definitely appreciated. Now, if you have comments, please leave your comments. We do not expect everybody to agree with the point of view today, but this is what we do. We're going to present all sides of everything, and we're going to present the side that you're not going to read in a lot of the mainstream media, and you're not going to see, and you're going to hear some of that tonight.
How many? There's not, and I said it before. I personally challenge all the radio show hosts in New York to speak up, because they know the history, and allow Minister Hafeez on their show to speak in defense of the minister. Charlemagne and D.L. Hughley and Steve Harvey, all your brothers that
Ricky Smiley.
Rick Smiley. When the heat is not on, some of them have the minister on the show. So now that the heat is on, they need to bring the minister back, those who had the minister on the show, or bring Minister Hafeez on the show. Because we have to discuss this. I'm totally against anybody from outside of our community picking our leaders. They've been doing that for a long time. And there's been times that I've been blackballed in Westchester County when nobody wants to deal with me. But all of a sudden, I'm like the flavor of the month right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's so true.
When we started,
I'm like the
I
flavor.
got all
But
the
you know
tea
what?
on that.
I don't get a big head over that, because I know I stay with the truth. So Tomorrow that might not be, but I don't care because I pay for this show. Nobody else pays for this show. Me and AJ, we get the money for this show. So we can speak truth to power, and we can have whoever we want to have on our show. So we could do that. But I challenge all the other radio hosts, whether you're on the internet or whether you are on a major station. Bring a representative. If you can't bring Minister Farrakhan on, bring a representative on and discuss this issue. This is a topic that needs to be discussed because of the rich history that the Nation of Islam have in the black community, not just cleaning up black men, making our black women respectful, building black families, economic development, ownership of real estate and businesses. It's a very, very intricate, schools for our children, intricate cornerstone in black history.
Peace in the streets.
Peace in the streets.
Youth educational development programs.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
I just want to say, and
manhood training.
Yes.
Talking about people attacking Damon when we first, I was in Georgia, so there's some people that didn't know me. I came back 2014. Everybody heard that story before. So a lot of people warned me in the beginning. And you're gonna be with who? Damon Jones. You might want to watch the company you keep. You might want to be careful. I was like, yo, I've known Damon for years. That's my boy. Yeah, but you still people warned me, and not only that, then there were people who will remain nameless who tried to elevate me and say, this is for you. This is not for Black Westchester, for Damon. This is for you. And the first thing I did is I called that brother, and he was like, nah, go ahead and rock that for us. And the spot that didn't want him, he ended up being in that same spot the next day right after me. You know what I'm saying? So it was people have tried to that separation, and I refuse. Even when people big me up a lot, I'm like, nah, I'm just one. It's me and him. Let them know. It's a partnership. I refuse to let anybody get between. But I was warned to not do this with Damon, from people who just didn't know better, because they didn't really know my character. So Charles Stern did reply back. He said, "Sure, AJ, thank you. I don't think we have a guest next week, so let's say next week. No, next week is Easter. I don't know if we have a show for Easter.
I don't know.
I don't know
if anybody's scheduled.
Let me find out if the station's even open. It's Easter, but
maybe he has a commitment.
The week after Easter, the 1st, the 8th. Right now, Charles, the 8th at 6:15. Let's say 6:15, April 8th. You come up for a half an hour, and we'll run through that, dealing with the board ethic thing and everything. Shout to Max Maxwell said, much love to the minister. I'm honored, sir. And Kevin Bunch said, listening, supporting my brethren. Jamie Pesson's on. Kevin Bunch is on. Derek L. White's on. DJ Nesto from Virginia is tuned in. Go ahead.
You mentioned earlier, Brother Minister, the Muslim program.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to the listeners what is the Muslim program? For those who don't know, can you explain to the listeners what is the Muslim program?
This is the question asked most frequently by both whites and blacks. The answer to this question, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, I shall state as simply as possible. Number one, we want freedom. We want a full and complete freedom. Number two, we want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed or class or color. Number three, we want equality of opportunity. We want equal membership in society with the best in civilized society. Now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said on the Tim Russert Show many years ago, where there were 50 million viewers, if we cannot get 1, 2, and 3, freedom, justice, and equality, then we want number 4. Number 4, we want our people in America whose parents or grandparents were descendants from slaves to be allowed to establish a separate state or territory of their own, either on this continent or elsewhere. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to provide such land and that area must be fertile and minerally rich. We believe that our former slave masters are obligated to maintain and supply our needs in this separate territory for the next 20 to 25 years until we are able to produce and supply our own needs. And lastly, since we cannot get along with them in peace and equality after giving them 400 years of our sweat and blood and receiving in return some of the worst treatment human beings have ever experienced, we believe our contributions to this land and the suffering forced upon us by white America justifies our demand for complete separation in a state or territory of our own. And I'll say number 5, we want freedom for all the believers of Islam now held in federal prisons. We want freedom for all black men and women now under death sentence in innumerable prisons in the North as well as the South. We can go on, but that's our program.
Yes,
that's
sir.
the main part of the Muslim program.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we stand on that today. The minister gave a lecture entitled Separation or Death for the 22nd anniversary of the Main Man March that we hosted in Newark, New Jersey. And we can lay the case for separation. You look at how this country is dealing with the immigrants. Some who sat in my office today after they came to the mosque meeting, you know, the meeting you missed. And they came to the mosque meeting today. And that was 2 weeks in a row you missed that one. And you tell Mama I'm looking to see you now still. And I sent you the invitation. And they sat in my office and they're getting ready to plan a march because of how the DACA has been reversed back. And now what happens now with black migrants and immigrants and our people from Haiti, you know, these crap hole countries. See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, look at how we're being treated. Look at our brother in Sacramento, California, another innocent black man,
That's right.
no weapon whatsoever, gunned down. But here's the white boy over in Parkland, Florida. You know how to apprehend him, and he's still alive, and others still alive. But unarmed black men and women keep getting gunned down, and they justify it, then do everything the minister said during 10-10-15, vilify us to justify your illegal actions, and then the unions come and then bankroll you and back you up so no one goes to prison. We can go on and on and on of our suffering here in America, and the minister asked the question, can we get justice under this present political construct? And if the answer is no, and it really is no, then we need to come to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, an agonizing appraisal of our life here in America, and that we are qualified for self-governance. We have blacks that have served in every position of this country, even the highest office, down to the lowest, at one time where we didn't exist at all. And therefore, we can govern ourselves. We can set up a ministry of trade and commerce, a ministry of justice, a ministry of science and technology, a ministry of health and human services, a ministry of information, a ministry of education, because our children need to be educated.
That's absolutely.
Not trained, educated. See, we have a training going on today, which is why our children come out and they don't do for self. They look for a job from someone else. But when you got an education, Sister Lorraine, you do for self like any self-respecting people do. They go into business for themselves. What's the benefit of having the associate degree, the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, the PhD degree? Is it a PhD? Are you a doctor? Or does PH mean power high and deep, but you're not able to solve no problems whatsoever? Is the bachelor or the BS degree BS? Or is it actually BS? We got to determine that today. Our people need to go free and breathe free. I respect LeBron James because this black man has taken his wealth. He has taken his acumen. Even though that politician said, keep dribbling the ball.
Right,
Well,
right.
I'd rather dribble the way he dribbles.
That's right.
A man that will take his funds and pay for the education of the brothers in his community, to give them master's degrees, business degrees, then put them to work in his organization. That's what they was upset with LeBron about when he left Cleveland and went to Miami. He began to put blacks all around him running his operation. A man that had put up $41 million plus and other countless things that he's done that we know or don't know. They get upset when we do for self. They don't like Diddy talking about buying the Panthers or any team. They don't like Jay-Z being free and independent. And when they talk about connecting it, this is what they didn't like about Biggie and Tupac.
Yes.
Because Biggie and Tupac talked about having a union, Sister Lorraine, Brother AJ and Brother Damon, for the rappers.
That's right.
They talked about uniting their enormous influence that they had around the world to benefit their own people in the hood. That makes you a dangerous black man, because our rise means someone else's fall.
Absolutely. And that was the dangerous thing with the Bloods and the Crips joining forces together, and their truce, because they weren't killing each other, and they're a powerful army. You can't have that.
No. I thank our Western Regional Minister, Student Minister Tony Muhammad, for the great work that he's doing, and others in that community, and the Bloods and the Crips. We thank the Game. We thank Snoop Dogg and all of them for coming together, man, because these things have been orchestrated by members of law enforcement, rogue members that Minister Farrakhan talked about in 2015. There's rogue members here in New York City, in New York State, and around the country that have instigated these and fomented these realities that exist. And I guarantee you, if you look in Rikers Island where there's problems, there's instigation going on there to exacerbate that, where a black man is preying on their own brother, and we see them less than we see ourselves.
That's right.
And they don't see the brother there. He's trying to help you. He's trying to do what he can. She's trying to do what you can. Why attack them? And if there's any correction officers or law enforcement officials, if you mistreat someone, why would you do that? These are your brothers. They should be protected, and your sisters. But I feel for those at Rikers. I feel, and send a word out to my brother Elias Hamsadine, the president of Cobra. I feel for the officers, man. That's a very painful thing for them to be attacked like that. And I think that we can help out in that process if we are allowed to.
You're absolutely right. And one of the problems, and I talked about this the other day with somebody, that the criminal justice reformers, those who wanted to close Rikers, and I always felt it was a sham, because Rikers is prime property, it's prime real estate.
Yes.
And the politicians allowed the reformers to move their agenda, thinking that they were doing something good, because now the prisons are going to go into the black communities. They're going to move the prisons. So you haven't changed anything. You just move the faulty system. You haven't changed how the prison operates. You haven't changed policies. You just move to where they're going, and then they take Rikers Island and either make them condos, $1 million condos, or extend LaGuardia. So,
of which we ain't getting no money from the
thank
contracts.
You. Absolutely. But the unions, especially the black union presidents, they need to sit down with the reformers. But they don't talk to each other. Right. And that's part of the problem. Yeah. You know, my organization, we sit down with the reformers. We said, you can't do that, because guess what? What's going to happen is de Blasio took away keep lock. So if an inmate does anything wrong, there's no punishment for his actions. Yes, so now you done lost control of the facility.
Yes, sir.
So now nobody's safe. The correction officers not safe, and civilians are not safe, and even other inmates are not safe, because there's no communication. It has to be some communication with those that are in law enforcement and the community that they serve.
Well, you know, solitary confinement, not handled properly, is an inhumane treatment.
Absolutely.
But when someone is out of control, they must be confined.
Absolutely.
So we understand that.
Absolutely.
And so we don't want the correction officers to continue to be maimed and hurt and put near death for them doing their jobs. And neither do we want any of them to mistreat the prisoners.
Absolutely.
If that ever has happened. But we don't want the prisoners to continue not to see their brothers. They should allow us to come and teach them the knowledge of themselves, the knowledge of God, so that they can know who they're looking at much better and look at themselves better and accept responsibility for their condition. Some of it is contrived, some of it they put themselves in, but you can get yourself out of it without you harming or hurting your fellow brother or sister who's just there to help you get through a tough time.
That's right.
We pray for the correction officers, wherever they may be in New York and in the state of Westchester, man. It's not an easy job to be able to do that. It's not a babysitting job. It's not a job where you're there to deal with mental issues. That also is not being addressed.
No, it's not because of the fact that the majority of the population, these brothers and sisters, have mental issues. And I know in Westchester, I can only speak Westchester. I don't know Rikers, but I know majority of correction officers in New York State, we do have training in dealing with mentally ill. Police officers don't, because we got to deal with them every day. We get more training each year on dealing with the mentally ill instead of putting them in the proper place, in the proper housing.
But what did the psychiatrists go to school for?
I don't know, because
psychologists
you know what I'm saying? I don't know, because
what they got them degrees. So everybody wants a degree and a letter next to their name, but ain't doing no work that earns that.
You absolutely right. You absolutely right. And you have Cuomo, which under his watch, he closed most of the psychiatric hospitals in New York. So now they're in the jail facilities, and that's not really talked about. You know, that we got to talk about that, because a lot of these people that's locked up, they need help, and they're not getting the help sitting in the jail because the prison system wasn't designed for the mentally ill.
No, sir.
It wasn't designed for the mentally ill, and that has to be a discussion, and that's why the union officials need to talk to the reformers when they need to sit down, and it could be worked. And I'm telling you, we could come to pass where we can make the jail safe for everybody, but it has to be conversation, because the politicians are using both.
Yeah, but what's making the mentally ill? We got to get to that.
To the system.
That's it.
See what I'm saying?
That's right. That's
what
right.
conditions is life?
Right.
Is turning their minds like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a whole nother show.
I wanted to piggyback. I wanted to let you go on, but
we don't deal with pigs, brother. But we want to allow that.
I want to scroll back.
Go ahead, AJ. Come on.
When you talking about LeBron James, one of the things that I think gets overseen, you know, because they call him the king and all these numbers and championships. Yo, LeBron James is one of the few good examples. He brought his homeboys with him. He's never. You know, everything they said he couldn't do, you've seen him work on the off season and get better at it. And he don't have no baby mama drama. He ain't got no rape charges. He ain't got no criminal, drug like you don't hear none of that kind of scandal with him. And he just has been working in a state of excellence, and he's been empowering his people and using his voice while there's been people that are complaining.
On social justice
issues. Right. He hasn't. People that's complaining he wasn't doing enough of it. You know, I mean, you got to do it at whatever level you're comfortable doing it. But he has used key points like the opening segment of the ESPYs Awards. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big, huge stage.
Of course.
And even with the Trayvon Martin, he started that whole thing with the hood. I am Trayvon, got the whole team to do it. Like, just the image of that without no words. People don't give him the credit for that. And then the other thing you also mentioned Snoop. Snoop has a gospel album out now and was eligible for a Stella Awards. That's the gospel awards. And a lot of people don't even know this is out there.
Snoop is on Minister Farrakhan's new album.
Yeah, right, I know. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't even know his gospel album is out there. And one thing we as a people, we miss the message because we look at the messenger sometimes. Like, we've all changed. If you look at some of my past, if you look back 4 or 5 years, you wouldn't expect me to be doing what I'm doing now. Like, the first year I was doing this, I was talking to my cousin. I was telling him about all the things we were doing. He was like, man, I was waiting for you to finish. I would say, now put my real cousin back on. Because he ain't never seen me do none of this. You know what I'm saying? That, like, this, we evolve and we change and we mature and we get into things. And, why can't he mature? You understand? Saying we want to keep him back to the gin and juice days and, that's all they want to know about him. Yes. But he has a gospel album out.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's doing very well. And he's one of the songs I seen he was with forgot the artist, but it's a big name artist, big name gospel artist who's respected that did the song with him. And I was like, we have to look at these, and sometimes it'll just be a brief message, and that's all it's supposed to be, and then not their whole life. But we need to listen to the message. And you know what I'm saying? My sister Lorraine want to say something.
I'm sorry. I have a bunch of day laborers that are hungry because they haven't been out because they're afraid of immigration, and I'm on my way to go feed them. So I just want to say it's an honor to meet you, and I'm sorry I have to leave. take care.
That's all right. You take care of them and feed them.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
Jesus
sir, I
says,
will.
if you have not done it unto the least of these, you've also not done it
unto me.
Okay.
So keep up your good work.
Thank you. Thank
All right,
you.
sis.
And on her way out the door, I just want to big her up for a
Yes.
lot of the work that she does. Like, you know, a lot of people don't know what she do behind the scenes. For a lot of people with no accolades, you know, she'll make them calls. Some family's hungry,
And that's how it should be. We should not do things to be seen of men and women.
Right, you know,
Right.
and you know, she was the first Hispanic, I think the first Hispanic city council woman in Yonkers.
All right.
And what I always say this about all politicians and to the voters, look at the people who are serving without their title. They're continuing to serve. Those are the people that you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, everybody do whatever when they have a title. But when the people continue to serve, and she's doing more now than she was then, you know, and she does a lot. So I just want to give her props.
Indeed.
Because she gets a lot of,
Pleasure meeting her today.
there's a lot of negative stuff they want to bring up. We all got to pass. You know what I'm saying? But what are you doing now? So, you know.
Brother Minister,
Yes, sir.
the historic Million Man March. A lot of people, because of yesterday, the march that they had against gun violence.
Yes.
You know, and
Yes, sir.
a lot of people. I was watching the news. I was skimming through the news. You know, and the Million Man March got some mention. You know, because they was talking about historic marches, and they brought up the Million Man March. Since the Million Man March, what have you seen in the black community? Do we need to revisit? Because now you see, you know, the Me Too movement. You see what they call the youth movement. I have a few issues with what they're calling the youth movement because black youth have been marching for a long time. We see the different movements, but the black man is still struggling throughout the United States.
Yes.
What is your take on?
Well, first, it was good to see the march that took place at the nation's capital against gun laws. But the enemy, the open enemy, is prepared for that. They don't mind us throwing temper tantrums. At the end of the day, they still control the policy and the decision making. That the AR-15 still exists, even in Parkland, Florida. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars but had nothing to do with stopping the sale of the AR-15 rifle and the bullets that go along with them. So they don't mind this expression. Go ahead on and do it. Play your music. We'll secure you. You got it. But we're still in the legislature. We're still in control to have our guns the way we want to have them and have the NRA support us the way that they do. It doesn't mean it can't change it. But what are we going to do when they don't change it? Because that's what's happening right now. The Me Too movement and the movement of women has always been a time for women. You should never have a moment where women don't thrive. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says of the woman that the home is your base, but it's not your only place. It's your launching pad to spring forward and to subdue the world because children come through you. As a matter of fact, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the eternal leader of the Nation of Islam, said, when you teach a man, you teach an individual. But when you teach a woman, you teach a nation because nations come through and from the woman. Right. So it's always been their time, and they should not be harassed. They should not be mistreated. But we also say, from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where there are no decent women, there can and will be no decent men.
That's right.
What is a strip club with no strippers? If you ain't got no strippers, you ain't nobody to make it rain, it's no club at all. That's eventually what I want to see. I'm tired of seeing women being objectified like that, and I'm tired of seeing women disrespected in the workplace. No matter their ethnicity, they should all be respected for what they bring to the cause. So women should move forward. Women should become more involved in politics, but don't be a woman coming forward, then act like the men who have ruined us. See? You got to come with that nurturing ability that God has given you. You have to come with that ability of consolation to help solve the problems of today. But the enemy is trying to turn the young girls and turn the youth movement. So I'm saying that, you know, these are all good since the Million Man March, everybody's called for 1 million of something. And whether they got it or not, at least they strove for it. But the Million Man March, we don't need another one of those. What we need, Minister Farrakhan said, is to organize of the success of that. We had the Million Man March in 1995, the Million Family March in 2000, the Millions More Movement in 2005, and then Justice or Else in 2015. Right. So we just need to organize on the truth and the principles that have been given. Much success to the Women's March, to my sister Tamika Mallory and Carmen Perez and Linda Salsor and other members that make up that group, and to the Me Too movement. Yes, well, us too. We need a us too movement, because what happens is blacks and aboriginals get lost in these movements, and we are then marginalized, but we are absorbed into the fabric. See, they don't come out. No one was going with the march on guns when blacks were killing each other in an inordinate rate in New York, in Chicago, in Arkansas, in D.C., in Memphis, Tennessee, in Washington, D.C., in Atlanta. Each time the murder capital kept changing in the country. Where was the movement for guns then? Was it because Negroes was killing themselves?
That's right.
But now that you keep seeing these mass shootings take place with these mass weapons that are for war zones, and if you need an AR-15 in America now, then you need to assess the democracy in America. That why do you need an assault rifle that can kill people in a moment's notice like that? I thought the Constitution said that where there's no established militia, you have a right to bear arms. But the last time I checked in America, they have established militias.
That's right.
They have police departments. They have the DEA. They have the ATF. They have the FBI. Police departments in every state and town of this country. So why do we need all of the guns? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as his national representative, forbade his followers to keep weapons in their home. Unless you were law enforcement. If you were, lock it away. But if you were not, you didn't need a weapon in your home, because that's the first thing we go to solve problems. And in the hood is what we've been using by design and desire to kill one another, harm one another, rob one another, maim one another, but with no gun, David.
Right.
See, I got an issue. You didn't come up the last 2 weeks to the month. So if I had a gun, see, you never know what I might do to you. But with no gun, I got to come to you with the principles of atonement. That you wronged me, brother. You see what I'm saying? AJ, what you laughing at? You need to show up.
I got something.
What I'm trying to say.
I got something right for you in the car today, brother. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, you're trying to make up for it. I understand. But you understand my principle.
Absolutely.
With no weapon,
Right.
it forces me to use my knowledge. With no
Absolutely.
weapon, it forces me to use wisdom, which is
Absolutely.
the skillful use of knowledge in an intelligent way. It forces me to understand you, and you understand me, and use the principles of atonement that Minister Farrakhan gave in 1995, which is point out the wrong or fault, acknowledge it, confess it, repent. Number 4, number 5, atonement or at-one-ment, do something to correct the wrong, which gives birth to number 6, which is forgiveness. And when you forgive, you forget, meaning you don't remind the person that what you forgave them for, which gives birth to number 7, reconciliation, and number 8, a perfect union, which allows us to develop a conflict resolution model, of which Minister Farrakhan instructed his followers and helpers and ministers to set up conflict resolution centers.
Absolutely.
So you can come to Muhammad Mosque number 7 in Harlem. You can come to my mosque, Muhammad Mosque number 7C in Brooklyn. You can go up the road into Bridgeport, Connecticut. You can go up the road in Springfield, Massachusetts, Hartford, Connecticut. You can go down the road in Newark, New Jersey. You can go to Trenton. You can go to Plainfield. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You can go to New Brunswick. You can go all the way up into Canada. And we will use our meeting spaces as conflict resolution centers, though I want to set one up dedicated for that. However, that's our work.
We need one of those in Mount Vernon. But,
Indeed.
With
Tell them to give us a
everybody.
building.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
make it happen.
But
We'll work on that.
I want to circle back when you were talking about they weren't complaining when we had all the guns in the black community. That's because they was situations like the Contras. They were providing those guns.
Of course.
They were
Absolutely.
dumping those guns in the
Absolutely.
black community for us to sell and kill each other. And you know what I'm saying? They were dumping it to fund their unsanctioned wars and all other kind of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, of course they wasn't complaining about it.
Well, the American youth should be fed up because they're being killed in mass numbers on these school campuses.
Yes.
And then here's President Trump saying, let's arm the teachers.
Yeah.
Minister Farrakhan said, that's wrong, President Trump. The teachers come there to teach. They don't need a sidearm weapon. Can you imagine white teachers in America having arms with black children in the schools and Hispanic children in the schools? The officers are already killing us wholesale who have no weapons at all.
Right.
And the first thing, oh man, what you say? You be busting a cap in us and justifying it.
That's right.
No, we can't have that. And you might do it to other children. No, you don't. Teachers don't need weapons.
Not
It's
only
bad enough that the law enforcement got weapons.
Right. Not only that though, you'll start seeing black teachers getting killed by the cops. Oh, he had a gun, about to pull it out. You know,
Yes.
They killing us without guns.
Yes.
So we don't need no
No,
more of
because
that.
black law enforcement ain't even safe.
Yeah.
We get shot
Yeah.
all the time.
But I appreciate the young little sister that spoke. I watched her on Instagram. I forget her name, but she spoke about all of those who could not
Right.
speak for themselves.
That's right.
Right.
Who died other than just at mass shootings.
Right.
So
Right.
I appreciate
But
our
they,
young
you know
sister.
what was unique? One of the students, one of the main students, and a couple of the Hispanic and the white students were complaining that the media didn't give the black students the same light as they were giving the students of a lighter shade, whether they were Hispanic or whether they were white. And the main young male student that has been all over the media, he forced them, and he had a press conference with a lot of black kids behind. They only spoke to him, you know, so they had to maneuver him to talk about young black children being shot and killed, and the issues of gun violence in the black community, for the press to even address the issues.
What did Michael Jackson say?
Absolutely.
They don't love us.
That's right.
What did Kanye say? They don't care about us.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this being said and we don't pay attention? It's real.
Right, right.
This is not conspiracy theory. This is reality, life, not reality shows.
Right.
They show us that they don't care. So what does that mean? We got to care about ourselves enough that we got to deal in the black community. See? I don't want to hear another killing by us killing each other.
Right.
Absolutely.
But if it is, I'm coming to rally wherever it is about us killing us.
Right.
I'm not here just to stand up against rampant police brutality and
Right,
mob attacks
absolutely.
and misconduct. I'm here against what's even greater, us killing ourselves at a preponderant level. Seems like things have slowed down, but it still don't make up for the loss of black life
No.
that we've done to ourselves.
They had a project. I don't know if you was aware of it in Mount Vernon. They got 41 parcels. Some of them were gang members, opposing gang members, and they got 41 youth from the city of Mount Vernon, and they made an album, The Peace Project, and it was about pray for our city and stop killing and all of that other stuff. And while they were recording this project, like there was a bunch of senseless street shootings. There was no violence during this time. You had former gang members or opposing gang members on the track together. And they pushed forward, and they brought this to a couple of adults, and the adults helped them do what was necessary to get. It was a shame that I bring it up. We've had them on the show and everything, that project wasn't spoke about more and promoted more. And I mean, it was very good musically. They was very talented. It was very good. Their performance was excellent. But, you don't hear about that. And that was something that the youth was calling for, because they're the ones being killed. And they're the ones, they seeing their brothers and sisters killed every day. And that was a powerful project. And it's online. It's the Peace Project.
Yes, sir.
The Foursquare Peace Project. If you have not heard that, look that up. Watch the video. If you can, buy a copy of the CD. Support that, so we can have more of that. We have to empower our youth who are trying, because we complain that they're out of control, and all this other stuff, but we don't support this.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? And then we have politicians trying to co-opt it and put their name on it and everything,
Right.
and they had nothing to do with it. You
right,
know what
but,
I'm saying? So,
but I say it every day, until the adults stop acting like gangs, we will never solve the gang problem. And in the black community, we act like gangs ourselves. We hate on each other, and this is adults. I mean, the political
Yes, sir.
beef. That's a different form of gang banging. It's no different.
There's gangsters in politics.
That's right.
Especially in New York, man. There's gangsters, man.
That's right. That's right.
Brooklyn politicians, Harlem politicians, Queens politicians, more or less coming up in the money earning Mount Vernon. Come on, it's gangsters, man. It's cutthroat.
Yes.
You owe me this, and this one owes you that, and if
That's
you don't
right.
do this, then I'm going to do this to you. Yeah, that's gangsterism. I got this on you, so you better do this over to me, or you're going to be exposed. That's gangsterism. I mean, even with the climate that's going on here right now, I don't know what's true or what's not true in Mount Vernon.
right.
But the bottom line is something is going on.
Yeah, he got arrested.
Something is
Something's
happening.
happening.
Something is happening that shouldn't be happening.
Right.
Now I've seen your post of the police commissioner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I've seen y'all speaking out against this gentleman.
And the
You know.
AG just brought him up in
Yeah.
his press conference.
The AG brought him up in the press conference.
You know,
Indeed.
he said, and in return for paying all these things, this individual, he didn't name him, but individual was given a high-ranking job in law enforcement who had no law enforcement experience. And then said, hold up, that bears to be repeated again. Repeated it again, and then said, but this case will give him some law enforcement experience now. So it was
Well, if Mayor Thomas is innocent of the charges, then we expect him to fight them vigorously and prove
Yes.
his innocence.
yes.
And if he's guilty, and one knows they're guilty, whether it's him or anyone else, then just own up to it and don't waste time and waste the people's time. Just own up to our reality. So I don't know what the case is,
Right.
but if he's innocent, fight for yourself. And if you're guilty, don't put the people through something that's unnecessary in the end to only still be discovered and uncovered for what could have been done better or in a better manner.
Well, the brother got problems because the Board of Ethics released another report that he took another $100,000.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I invited to.
Charles Stern.
His wife Deborah just confirmed
Good.
she will be here April 8th at 6:15 to talk about that situation where
Right.
Amani was supposed to, where the Board of Ethics charges.
Right,
She's
they're-
speaking from the schools.
Charter school gave
Right,
the
yeah.
mayor $100,000.
Well, a charge is a charge.
Right.
And charges have to be proven.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what
Oh,
I'm saying.
absolutely.
We want to give him the respect of that like we would do anyone else.
Yes, and
We're
I think-
innocent until proven guilty.
Yes. Yeah, make
All
sure-
I'm saying from a spiritual point of view,
Yes, sir.
if we're guilty of something and we know it, own up to it. Don't waste the taxpayers' money. You understand? And take us through an arduous process only to still be uncovered.
Well, some people,
And if we're innocent, then fight for it and prove it.
but you know what? There's some people who are in denial of their actions, even if you have the evidence on them. There's some people like that. I'm not saying he's like that. I'm just saying there's some people like that even though you have the evidence.
Well, have
there's
you
still-
ever heard the story of the truth and the lie
That's right.
took a swim together?
Right.
And in order to do it, they had to disrobe
That's right.
some of their clothing. And the lie decided to leave the water before the truth. But when he put on clothes, he put on truth's
Two clothes. That's right.
And of course, the truth realized that the lie was dressed in his clothes. So the truth jumped up out of the water, and here was the naked truth chasing a well-dressed
Just
lie.
lie. That's right.
You see? So the lie knows that he's a liar.
Right.
And
Right.
that's and we're in the business of exposing the lie and the liar.
Yes.
That's
what
right.
Minister Farrakhan has been doing,
Yes.
exposing a lie about our people and the liar who's put it out.
Right.
So
That's what we've been trying to do with Black Westchester.
well, that's what
And
we
a
got
lot
to
of
do
people,
all the way
and a
around.
lot of people don't. They're comfortable with the lie. They're comfortable living in the matrix. They don't want to be pulled out of the matrix. They're comfortable living like that. You know what I'm saying? They know it is. They know it is. And then you got, I say this too. I gave the scenario. I left New York around 2002. I came back to Mount Vernon 2014. I said it was, and Mount Vernon was starting to go down a little bit. I said it's the equivalent of having a child, right? You have a young child that you see grows a little bit every day. but because you're there, you don't actually see the growth as much as that relative who hasn't seen them in like 6 months or 6 years. Like, wow, you got big because you've only seen from here to here. Well, leaving Mount Vernon and coming back has given me that, you know, to look from here to here, where so many people that have been in it have just gradually just become to accept it, and they don't even realize that it's going down. And as the quote, Andre Wallace, it's been wrong for so long now, it just seemed right. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you know, that's a lot of people are comfortable in a situation. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes, sir.
you know, they don't want to do what, like, nobody's going to give you nothing we got in this world. None of our freedoms were given to us because it was the right thing to do, because the other side was just nice. You understand what I'm saying? We had to fight for the things that we had. One way or another, you had to fight for them. We say freedom is not free. So you're not just going to march or just talk and they're just going to give you what you
Well, there's freedom and there's the illusion of freedom.
Well, yes.
There's the gerbil lifestyle that many of us live, thinking we're free because the cage is moving.
Right.
You understand? That's why we say we want a full and complete freedom.
Right.
Right. But when when you look at Mount Vernon and you look at, we have a black mayor, majority black city council, black board of ed, right?
Black school superintendent. I mean, all the way through.
Black school superintendent. On the state level, black, right? Everything's black from all the way down, right? One of the only cities that I will see in Westchester that the minister will come to in all levels of government.
Yes.
You understand? Will come out.
Yes, sir.
And you don't hear anything, right? It's a normal day, right? but we can't get it together, right? We can't, like last week I said we are Westchester's Wakanda. But we are selling off our vibranium.
We're letting our elected officials, our leaders.
Our leaders are because we got the best piece of land in Westchester County.
Yes, sir.
You know, and we're not using it to the benefit, or the leadership is not using it to the benefit of the people.
It's because of greed and inordinate self-interest. Minister Farrakhan talks about that in his illuminating book, A Torchlight for America. Greed and inordinate self-interest that we've learned from others that have went before us, and we've developed ourselves because we believe in rugged individualism, yet we talk about group politics.
Right.
And it's really not about the group until we're forced for it to be about the group. Or either we're uncovered, and then due to corruption or appearance of corruption, we then have to leave office.
I notice it's like I equate, I've been in the music business for years. I equate a lot of things to the music business. It's like, you know, certain people came up and they were artists, and the label that they were on jerked them, and their manager jerked them, and you know what I'm saying? And they went through, then they now became the manager or the label, and then they started jerking, you know, the brothers and sisters that look like them, and they worse than what the white person was doing to them. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how they learned. You know what I'm saying? So now they, you know, that's what they do.
Well, my father.
Same thing with our black politicians. You know, when they get to.
Well, when I didn't learn my mathematics as a young boy, my father being from Charleston, South Carolina, he would take the ball peen of a hammer and hit my knuckles.
Okay.
Till they were bruised, sometimes until they bled.
Okay.
Saying to me, you can learn this division. You can learn this multiplication. You can learn this next level of math. Don't tell me what you can't do.
Right.
So I'm going to make you feel the pain until you get it. That was his way. Well, that was a little crude, brother.
Right.
But I've raised 5 children. I did not hit their knuckles like my father did mine.
Right.
He made me sit in a corner and face the wall for hours. I used to get beat with a switch off a tree.
Yeah, I got that too.
A tree branch.
I got that
Yea,
too
the
back
tree
in the day.
trunk.
Yes, sir.
I've gotten beaten with an extension cord. I ran when they were going to hit me with the female part. I said, oh, heck no, I'm not getting no chunks of flesh missing out of my body. But all of that happened, but because it did, for me, I was not going to pass that on to my children.
Right,
I thank God. So I understand the, learned complexes, but we got to do what the scripture says. It says that the sins of the fathers in the book of Exodus will be will be passed down to the third and fourth generation of their children.
Right.
But the book of Ezekiel says the sins of the fathers will no longer be that of the children. The children have to accept their own. So you can't keep saying that I haven't been a good daddy or good father because I didn't have a daddy.
Right.
I ain't been a good mother, huh? Because I didn't have a mama. No, you got to learn because I didn't have. This is what I have to give to my own.
Right.
So we got to think better of ourselves and better of the situation and person that we're dealing with.
Right.
And then we can change those dynamics. So they should have learned by what was done to them by others that I shouldn't do the same to someone else. It becomes a complex that we get involved. If I've been done wrong, then why not you?
Right.
No, we got to break those cycles.
Right.
You know, we have a duty to do that.
Well, you know, I mean, when do black leadership share some of the responsibility?
Oh, leadership shares it all.
Yes, sir.
Leadership shares it all. It starts from the top down. If there's a problem going on in the body, there's something in the head. They call it psychosomatic illness. See? It's the mind making the body ill. Sometimes the leadership makes the people sick because of our egos, because of our insecurities, because of our immaturity, because of our immature expression of a word or a message. We make the people ill or sick because they don't know no better. Then when they learn, man, this is wrong, they too are ill-affected, and they have been going about ill-affecting other people until we come back and reset everything. Apologize for the wrong we've done. Make amends for those wrongs and then reset it properly. Then leadership can go back out and be honored for leadership. We're only in positions of leadership to serve people.
Absolutely.
Jesus says, I came in the world to minister on, not to be ministered to.
That's right.
So any man that would be your minister or woman would be your minister is your servant. This is what I love about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He serves me. He serves my soul. He serves our family. He serves the needs of our people. He doesn't come for us to serve him. One day someone was helping him with something and he said, oh, brother, I wish that you would do the same for me, for your people in your city. Otherwise, what you're doing for me is vanity for others if you won't do it for them.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
That's
what a leader is supposed to do.
Yeah, that was the lesson that in one of the parables where Jesus was trying to teach the disciples with washing their feet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They weren't getting it.
Yes.
That was the whole, you know.
Of course, brother.
Yeah.
You got to help others. So leadership, no matter what, is spiritual or political. Help the needs of the people. What can I do to make life better for you?
Right.
I said something at the end of the mouse meeting today after our mantra. I said to the people, if there's anything that we can do to make life better for you today, and it's within our ability to do so, all you got to do is ask. I don't have the ability to solve everybody's problem or every issue.
That's right.
But if it's within our ability, we want to or direct you where we can. That's being a servant.
Yes.
Rather than wanting the people to do this for you and do this for me, do you know who I am? If you have to say you the boss, then you ain't the boss.
I always say that.
Say you in charge, then you ain't in charge.
I always say that.
A mark of a good leader is when you walk into the room and you change the dynamics of the room and what you see that needs to be put in order, not one who comes in and points, do this, do that, do that. You go and do it and become the agent of change yourself. Then others will follow what you've done. Even when you haven't said a word, they will follow your actions.
That's right. That's right.
So that's what leadership has to do. Things can be set right.
Couple of new people tuned in. Maureen Walker, Simone Combs, Larry Johnson, Simone English Bowden, John R. Jones, Ronell Spence. That's DJ Cranberry. He's going to be on the show before.
Hey, what's up, brother? DJ Cranberry. What's happening?
Eric P. Williams and Brother Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. are all on the check-in right now.
Greetings to you all.
Yeah, before I forget, I just wanted to say something. I just wanted to. There was an issue that I saw on the Board of Estimates meeting. Before I forget, I gotta get this off my chest before I forget. I was watching the Board of Estimates meeting, and they had the Board of Estimates meeting consists of the controller, the mayor, and the city council president. And let me back up a little bit. Last show, I had made a statement about the city council, that the city council actually failed in being the checks and balances of the city. After the arrest of the mayor and the issues that was brought forth from the citizens of Mount Vernon for 2 years, and then now the arrest and the issues that were brought, it was my opinion, and I said this last week, that the city council failed to correct the loopholes or what was questionable about the city charter to make the city run more efficiently and more and accountable. Because when you see problems and when lawyers find loopholes to do things that are questionable, it is up to the city council's job to review and make the necessary changes so it doesn't happen again. And I got a text from former Councilman Johanna Edwards, and basically he took it personal because he was defending himself. And I said, brother, in the text, I said I wasn't speaking on anybody personally. I was talking at the body as a group because everybody's one vote. Every city council member has one vote. And in that process, I was talking about the whole. But since Johanna texted me, he had brought up the issue of the Civilian Complaint Review Board. Now, I played an advisory role in the Civilian Complaint Review Board. And so did Jeff Monroe, Anthony Mitchell, a lot of good brothers was on there. So the citizens of Mount Vernon will have a mechanism of oversight over the police when they have been violated. In the complaint of the Attorney General, he did mention the issue of a campaign donor being appointed deputy police commissioner. In this process, which took almost 2 years to get the legislation, the city legislation on the CCRB to get approved, which they did approve it. But what was very interesting from the meeting was that there was a budget already aligned, from my understanding, of $30,000 for the CCRB. But when watching the mayor discuss that there needs to be more money, and then the city council president agreeing that it needs to be more money, when it doesn't have to have any more money to table moving forward with something that is oversight of a police department that even the AG has questioned. I think it's a disservice. The Board of Ethics that just did the report on the mayor didn't have a budget. They didn't have a budget. $30,000 was just used to have the website and certain information for the public, but no more money is needed for that. From what I saw, it was another stale tactic by the mayor to keep this piece of oversight from functioning. Because once the money is moved, the city council is able to appoint those members to the CCRB, and then they have the power to investigate complaints. Oh, wait, maybe one of the complaints is the unqualified police commissioner and how he got there. See, we don't know. But it's a stall tactic. And I think the city council president did a disservice to the community at this point, because really, at that point, you are taking an advice of someone who just has been arrested and someone who, in the complaint, it mentions the quid pro quo play to pay appointment of a deputy police commissioner, when the CCRB's mission is for oversight, policies and procedures, training and actions of the police department, and that's even the deputy police commissioner. So I really think Lisa Copeland at this point has done a disservice to the community by tabling it, when it really doesn't need a budget. It just needs people, because if the Board of Ethics can can investigate and do what they did and issue a report like they did, so can the CCRB without a budget. So for him to talk about he wants to put $100,000, so here we go with this $100,000 again, right? Where is he going to get it from? He going to lie and say he got it from the Monty School again? Where is it going to come from? $30,000 is sufficient to make this happen. So I hope the next Board of Estimate meeting, I hope that they'll put it back on the table, and let's not get into the shim sham about it needs more money. No, it needs to be put in effect and allow these people to do their job. And that's what I got to say with that.
Yes, sir.
Anything, AJ, on that?
No, I think you said it. So you said it well. I'm going to be watching the situation. I've just been watching. I haven't spoke on a lot of things individually lately, but I've been watching everything because you got to a point where, you know, we were reporting every little thing going on in Mount Vernon, and people just, you know, it was just over. You were just giving out too much. So now I'm picking and choosing, but I'm watching that whole situation though, and we will be doing something on it.
And this is not attacking anybody. This is just accountability. You know, if we can't be accountable of ourselves, you know, then who's going to be accountable? But people take it personal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you put yourself in that position. Well, you know, we're in positions of leadership whether we like it or not, and we're under the microscope. Right? So we have to act accordingly. You want to put yourself in a position as elected official, and then you get mad when people question your authority. You can't have it both. You can't have it both ways because you work for the people.
Well, you're there to receive a question.
Right.
There you go.
You're happy when we are holding others' feet to the fire. You know, your adversaries and your foes, but then when you take that position, you think, you know, the player changed, the game didn't change. Like, I mean, it's still now we have to watch you and hold you to the fire. Like, you think it shouldn't maintain to you. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, and I'll say this again, a lot of times people don't understand. I don't attack the person, whether it's Mayor Thomas or whoever. A lot of times it's not attacking him. I don't call him out of his name. I don't call him out. I don't talk about his family. I don't do a lot of that other stuff that they do. You know what I'm saying? But I deal with the issue. You know what I'm saying? That issue, what you did on that day was wrong. And then what you came out, and I was in the meeting, and what you came out and then told the people at the press conference was an outright lie, and I had to call you on it. You know what I'm saying? That's nothing against you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not coming at you. You know what I'm saying? I respect your position, you know, that you hold, and I treat you that way. But you still have to, well, whoever it is, you know what I'm saying? And I attack the issue, not the person. A lot of times we're attacking the person.
Yeah. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad warned us, never attack people personally.
Right.
Only deal with them on program and position.
Right.
That's right. That's
and
right.
See what they'll do to me in return is then try to attack me personally.
Well, that's what they do with everybody.
But you never proven that anything I wrote was wrong. You never proven, you know, you right there, you do the whole fake news thing, you know, like Trump or whatever, but you've never proven, you've never showed, like I've given everybody that we've discussed, like people don't, like I'll talk about Richard Thomas. I've had extensive conversations with him. He basically understands. I worked on his campaign. A lot of things I write about him, Reggie Lafayette, a lot of these people, Ernie Davis, I've told them to their face. I've had the conversations with them about it. There's no surprise. They still don't like that I feel that way. You know what I'm saying? But they know. And when I write these stories, I send them a copy. And I ask them, you know, try to get a quote from them. Some of them don't want to do that. Well, if you're not going to put your side out there, then you can't get mad. You know what I'm saying? But this is what we got to do. Because for too long, cities like Mount Vernon, and not just the black politicians, but especially the black politicians, have been counting on the voters and the residents being misinformed and uninformed.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? For their gain. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to register and go to the the unregistered voters. Oh, them people don't vote. We're not even going to talk to them. Talk about them or nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's just this pool of people here. That's all we got to deal with.
Right.
And I've had them tell me this.
Right. It's like replacing racist white people with black hate leadership. You understand? Because it's like if I needed to be hated by my own people, I just go over with the KKK. You know, at least I know what they standing for. You know, and if you come into a city and you're dealing with black folks and they hating you harder than the white man, you know, and I always say when I come out my house, it's not the white man breaking in my car, right? It's not the white man pissing on my staircase. It's people that look like me.
That's right.
So if we critical, or you hating? How am I hating when I go to White Plains and I would love Mount Vernon to look like White Plains? Right? I would love to come out and not see cans and motor oil and all this stuff on the street when I'm spending good money in a building every month, my hard-working money, and then go to a parking lot that's broken down and smell like all type of stuff. How do we get our self-respect to even say this is unacceptable?
Well, when we stop giving in to myth over reality. I mean, the streets look clean in Wakanda, but we got to wake up to the reality of the real Wakanda.
That's right. That's right.
By making our communities a decent and safe place to live.
Right.
So we got to get out of myth and deal with reality. That was on the screen, but now we got to come now, and we got to be those super men and women in our community that raises the level of consciousness. Look at the end of the movie, Black Panther, the way that they talk about it and have it recorded that, you know, at the end they were coming into the hood and the community, dealing with the youth.
That's right.
Well, that's what we already are striving to do right now.
Right.
So wake up to the reality
Right.
of life and not just like to see it on the screen.
Right.
See, we see strong black women, they say that is there in the movie. Well, that's good. Strong black men in the movie, and they went at each other and, you know, fighting for who was going to be the king or this, that, and the other. But whatever the case may be, transfer that to reality. Now, we don't need to be fighting each other. We don't need to be plotting.
Right.
Because the brother had an issue against the other brother. But the bottom line is, both of them had an issue with the way their nation was being run and operated.
That's
you understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, we have a issue with the way our nation is being run and operated.
Right.
So then we got to be agents of change.
Right.
And not complain. We
Right.
got to be solution oriented. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan always taught me this principle. There will always be problems in organizational leadership and structures. He says, but the beautiful thing is there's a solution for every problem.
Absolutely.
That is what we need to understand.
Absolutely. Welcome, Brother Arthur Muhammad. Tuned in. Sean L. Montgomery, Wayne Robinson, Yasmin Hurston. Brian Sillo said, beautifully said, brother. Eddie Johnson said, keep speaking truth. Truth will stand. And Sean Montgomery gave me a shout out.
Indeed.
Peace to all of y'all.
I want to announce something here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, on Saturday, April the 7th, the MGT and GCC Vanguard of Muhammad Mosque number 7, the real sisters of Wakanda,
That's right.
represents a program called Sisters United Empowerment Seminar. And it's a free seminar for young girls and women ages 16 to 30. And there'll be an official launch for the event, Vanguard Cares. There's registration, which includes workshops, light refreshments, swag bag. And they can go to register at, call this information. For more information, contact Sister Camila or Sister Latoya at 646-598-3615. 646-598-3615 or Vanguard Cares, the number 7 at gmail.com. Vanguard Cares, the number 7 at gmail.com. And the keynote speaker
Yes, sir.
is going to be our one and only Sister Nichelle Muhammad, Mount Vernon City Court Judge.
Round of applause.
Yes.
Yes. We got to give it that hand.
That's right.
Brother Arthur Muhammad just said peace to all my brothers. And Eddie Johnson said, it's time to move. We need to stop voting for people because they are black. You know, we've touched upon that before.
Well, I'm not going to vote for you just because you may be white and you may look right.
Right.
You got to be right.
Right.
I'll vote for the Hispanic. We don't care who we put in,
Right.
but they got to be right. But there's something about our people. See, and that's part of the plan. That's part of the scheme of the open enemy. They don't want us to ultimately vote for those who are black. So those who are black, they always get us to play pool upstate New York. You know why they always get us to play pool upstate?
Right.
Because the table is always slanted in their favor. If you play downstate, it's an even playing field. So we look bad. So therefore we don't want to get anyone that's black. So we choose someone else.
Right.
And then they're worse than the one who's black. So I'd rather get my own in and hold their feet to the fire.
Yes, sir.
I'd rather get my own in and make them better while they're there.
Right.
Because we need that kind of representation in front of us.
I
That's
agree.
right.
You know, and those of you that want to, follow us on Instagram, because y'all don't never promote me, but you can follow me on Instagram.
Well, brother, we got a lot of footage.
M.
We got a lot of footage today, brother.
Yeah, I understand. Hafeez M, and I'm on Twitter. Hafeez Muhammad. You know what I mean?
And let me
striking out today.
and let me clear that.
Wait, hold on.
I never let you leave
let me
without giving all your information.
yeah, right.
I never let you
only
leave. Okay.
joking
No,
with
no,
you.
I know. I just want to clear
Come
that
on, I
up.
ain't been here in a long time. I gotta take a little jab. Here and there.
But you know what, brother? It was something
I
that
love you,
it was something that I know. I love you too, brother. It was something I noticed.
Yes, sir.
When you came to the Westchester Black Political Conference,
And thank you for the invitation.
And I thank you again because it was a great conference for our first time, and hopefully next year it will be bigger and we could expand. But you spoke to a majority white audience.
Yes, sir.
And you spoke from the teachings.
Yes, sir.
And people clapped, and they laughed, and they had a good time listening to your message.
Yes, sir. Because we're not anti-anyone.
Thank you. That's
we're not full of self-hatred for anyone.
That's right.
Or any group or any people.
That's what I was
You live in America. You can be who and what you want to be. The only thing Minister Farrakhan says, you can come as you are to the nation, but you can't remain the way you are. That's the standard of God. So if you want to remain the way you are, then you got to go someplace else. That's not being anti-anyone or anything or any group. We stand on truth, and we fight with truth and unity and love. So all of this distraction that we're this and we're that, this is what you do to label an innocent man and the group that is with him, because Minister Farrakhan has been uncovering the lie and the liar that's been holding back the progress of our people. I'm sorry. We have to go after it. We got to deal with that today. And those of you that don't understand it, then just sit on the sideline and watch us play on the field. You look at football, but you may not know everything of what's going on. And even if you know the positions, you don't know how I feel unless you get on the field. I'm on the field. We're on the field. And we know what we're feeling. We know the blows our people are taking. And we can't take it no more. We like Fannie Lou Hamer with the double negative. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And those of us that march and walk, you're going to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Begging for jobs and health care rather than working for policy and control. That's what Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wanted to deal with. That's where his evolutionary development went to. We got to stop up here in Westchester. We got to sanitize Dr. King, because you've left him with the monotone, I have a dream, and many don't even want to admit that that speech in 1963 was vetted by President Kennedy. All of the speeches were vetted, and if it wasn't what he wanted to hear, then he couldn't say it. That's why Mahalia Jackson said, tell him about the dream, King. Tell him about the dream. And he said what he said, and he could have said something different, but he matured. He was a different man in 57, before 63.
That's right.
But they maneuvered him. But then after that, from 66 to 68, Dr. King talked about black brokerage companies.
That's right.
Black taxi cab companies.
That's right.
Blacks owning their own.
That's
and then after his meeting with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's home, they charged them and said, you tell us about the meeting with Elijah Muhammad, or we will expose your extracurricular activity, allegedly with white women. And allegedly he said, you do what you have to do, but I'm not talking about the contents of my meeting with Elijah Muhammad. And what they were going to agree was to unite, possibly on the Poor People's March or the March for the Sanitation Workers. And then Dr. King was assassinated. But he said, I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land. He said that the dream that I had there in 1963 has turned into a nightmare.
That's right.
So, I mean, these were his words. How do you keep bringing him back to something that he evolved from? Look, when you look at Usain Bolt, you admire him from the beginning to the progressive middle to the end. Well, then Dr. King must be understood from his beginning to his progressive middle to the end of his life. And that's where you give the testimony of his greatest legacy. And he left this world teaching do for self, self-determination, black love.
Black is beautiful.
Huh?
Black is beautiful.
He said you don't need to shoot and kill one another. All you need is the power of your unity.
That's right.
And the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, our unity is a weapon more powerful than nuclear bombs. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches our unity will solve 95% of our problems. Our people, Brother AJ and Brother Damon, are in, and listening audience, are in a sea of despair. And it takes the ropes from different groups and organizations to tie them together in a knot and cast it down into the ditch where our people are and pull them out of their condition and clean them up. So we say to all who cast your lies on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan like you did of Jesus 2,000 years ago, it's the donkey in the ditch syndrome. Every knock is a boost. How did you spell his name? Did you spell it right? Very good. Then you've given us a boost because I'm representing a man of God, the man of God, that all he's done is taught his people the truth. He's taught every subject imaginable for the human condition, not only for the black man and woman and the aboriginal woman, but any person who listens to it. You ask that lead singer from Coldplay whether he likes Minister Farrakhan. Huh? You ask Chaka Khan whether she likes him, and Snoop Dogg and Common and Busta Rhymes. Many of these are not Coldplay, but they're on his new album that he's put out. Frankie Beverly. Yep. We can go to list. And they're white folks. When the minister's in the airport and we're seeing him off, you know, they said they fed Jesus because he had the love of the people. People come, white, black, Hispanic. That's Reverend Farrakhan. That's Minister Farrakhan. Can I take a picture? And you know what the minister says? Sure. And he'll sit there and take a picture with them and smile and hug them. And they go about their way. This is not the man that you were talking about.
That's right.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jake Tapper. You said to Brother Jesse, a commanding tweet, if you want to marinate on those things of hatred, then you can do whatever you want. No! You're upset because the minister exposed the mimetic man. He exposed those ones hiding under other assumed names, but you're not who you say you are to the people, and you've been usurping the resources. That's what they're upset about. So I say to black leaders and black leadership, stay out of the way. Don't nobody else get up and talk about I'm going to repudiate. Repudiate the minister for what? Condemn him for what?
Meeks.
Mr. Meeks, you need to apologize. But we forgive you because you know not what you do. So you need to sit down with a meeting with our office, Mr. Meeks. But you have met the presence of God with the minister, through the minister, and through us. So did Danny Davis, and so did Representative Barbara Lee. But we're not going after them. We love them. We can get them to change their hearts and minds. We want the rest of leadership to step out of the way. And to the people who are attacking the nation from YouTube and Facebook, if you want to talk to us, we are located at 106-08
right.
West 127th Street. You don't need to talk about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You don't need to call us the N-word on YouTube. Come to 106-08 and we'll meet you. And say that to my face so I can disabuse you, unless you're an agent for the enemy. You an agent provocateurs attacking the minister and the nation and Elijah Muhammad when they've done nothing but clean up the lives of your family members, of your fathers, of your mothers, of your sisters, of your brothers, of your aunts, of your uncles, of your nieces. From generation to generation, we've cleaned them up in the prisons. We've cleaned them up in the streets. And we even clean up the professional man or woman who now is the doctor, who's the lawyer, who's the engineer, who's the practitioner. Muhammad cleans them all up.
That's right.
He cleans them up with a checkup from the neck up. He gets the needle out the arm. He gets the bottle out of the mouth. Isn't it something that everywhere in the black community there's a food desert? but other communities you can find fresh fruits and vegetables.
That's right.
Isn't it something that liquor stores are in our community, but very little in other people's community? Isn't it something that everyone else can set up shop and suck off the mammary gland of our community, but you won't let us come and deal with yours? It's an inordinate relationship, and we need to come together, black politicians, Hispanic politicians, and we need to make our communities a decent and safe place to live, and redirect resources to help our young brothers and sisters in the hood and in the community with intervention but prevention programs. Otherwise, get out of our way and let us civilize our people.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. Brother Muhammad,
Yes,
Brother
sir.
Arthur Muhammad said, teach. Shout to Monica James. Monique, I said Monica, sorry, Monique James. She was like, yes.
That's right.
Shout to Warren C. Piles, who just tuned in, and everybody else who's listening right now. We're coming to the close of the show soon. Is there any thing I didn't ask you, any message that you want to get out, you know?
You mean other than what I just been saying?
Yeah, but I'm just saying anything beyond that, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What
I want to give you those, I want to give you that chance.
I'm coming back again.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I want to
Yes, sir.
talk about Minister Farrakhan's music and album.
Yes, sir.
Please,
Yes,
And
sir.
if you don't mind, I would like for you to play some of it.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
yes.
that everyone can see it and be exposed.
Yes.
This is not the man who has hatred in his heart, an anti-Semite. And how can I be an anti-Semite when I'm a Semitic person? We are Semitic.
Thank you.
How can I be
Thank you.
anti myself?
Right.
When you break down the word Semitic.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
He's not anti-LGBT or LGBTI, xenophobic. You just throw these things out just to have mass distractions that people can latch on to, then denounce him, condemn him. You did this with Jesus, and ultimately it did not work. You brought him to a state and condition where you have to recognize who the man of God is. Well, you're going to have to recognize who Minister Farrakhan is and has been in your midst by continuing to do what we've been doing.
Yes, sir.
So we got more to talk about, Allah willing, God willing,
Yes, sir.
the next time. But we love you in Westchester.
Love
we
you
love
too,
our
brother.
people. We want freedom, justice, equality, and submission to the will of God, regardless to creed, color, or class. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, listen, brother Minister Hafeez said it all, man.
Absolutely.
He said, and that's where we need to go, you know. And I hope you do come on more, because black people in Westchester, we really need to hear that.
Yes, sir.
We really need to hear that. We need to come together, you know. There's a lot of good things in Westchester, and we could do a lot of things. We just have to unite. You know, the black communities throughout Westchester have to unite, and Mount Vernon can be that mecca for it.
Yes, sir.
You know, but it's like they don't understand it, you know, because other black communities would love to have the opportunity that they see that Mount Vernon has. A couple of shows ago, I had some New Rochelle, a New Rochelle black officer and a Yonkers black officer on the show. They was talking about taking the test.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize until the Yonkers cop, Charles Walker, mentioned it. He said, man, we admire Mount Vernon. He said, y'all get black police commissioners. He said, we ain't never seen a black police commissioner. And it dawned on me. I said, damn, Mount Vernon is the only police department out of the 43 in Westchester
43 municipalities
that
yeah.
had a black police commissioner. So these other black cops don't even know what it feels like to have someone black at the top calling the shots. As corrections, when I came in, we had Noah D. Jackson. He was a black man. He ain't take no joke. So our swag is a little different. You understand? Because we know what it feels like to have someone at the top.
Someone who can identify with
That's
you.
right.
That's what it means.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other police departments, and I didn't know that till the brother from Yonkers mentioned it, and he was like, yo, we don't even know what it's like to have a black commissioner. So, you know, Mount Vernon, they're ahead a lot, but then they're behind because they don't have the unity, you know, as some of the other communities have, you know, in working together.
I want to speak to the city council. I've been wanting to do that for the longest.
We talked to
wanna
Andre
help.
Wallace. We make that
I
happen.
want to speak to the city council. I want to help to unite Mount Vernon. I want to thank Brother Arthur Muhammad, my assistant student minister, Mosque number 7, but a great brother in Mount Vernon and in Westchester for the work that he does and the sojourn that he does, and all of the wonderful believers in this beloved county and area. And I thank God for every one of them. But there's something special that we can bring to the table to help change it and turn it around. Why shouldn't we?
Absolutely.
And if we don't, then there's an enemy we need to expose who does not want to see Mount Vernon become a model black community. Right now, something big is going on in Newark, New Jersey.
Yes.
With Mayor Ras Baraka.
Really?
And we're working to help him get back in office again. In May, there's the election.
He's still in office.
He's in office.
Oh, you're talking about
The
re-election?
re-election.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, we're going strong with it.
Yeah, you got to.
We got to get these model communities so that black people can see the real Wakanda that you looked on TV is here. And it don't mean it's only black folk.
Right.
Because in Wakanda, they had a white man that was in there. Okay, well, then there's other folks that we got to represent as well.
Right.
We want to show you how we can represent all of the people, regardless of creed, class, or color.
Right.
The way we've not been represented with others in office over us that are not from our ethnicity. We'll show you how to do it.
That's right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's right.
Hey, you know, Mount Vernon is a shame because a lot of people look at us. We've taken more for granted than other municipalities have. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're sitting there looking at, man, if I had that, do you know what we could do with that? You know what I'm saying? We take for granted. You know what I'm saying?
Before you go, I just want to hold this paper up.
Yes, hold it up.
Oh, absolutely.
Minister Farrakhan, here I stand. Here he is. There he is, right there.
Absolutely.
He's going to be 85
God bless
on
him.
May 11th. Here he stands.
Absolutely.
Relentless on the truth. We thank Allah for him and we love him.
Yes, sir.
We thank God for each and every one of you. And you don't have to agree with everything that we say. We never said you have to. But one thing you can't do is call us, him or us, a liar.
That's
We
right.
stand on the invincible truth. And when you really look at the common denominator, you'll find out that we have more in common than you think. We leave you saying a good Muslim is a good Christian and a good Christian is a good Muslim. If you understand, we under Mr. Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan have that understanding. We thank you for this opportunity, Brother AJ
Thank
and
you,
Brother
brother.
Damon.
Thank you,
and
brother.
Sister Lorraine in her absence. May Allah bless you and your families and
Thank you,
enrich
sir.
you as we greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you.
Alaikum salam.
And I want to also give a shout out to Brother Arthur Muhammad. He played at the Money Making Mob. I guess their old school party they do every.
Oh.
He called me. He's like, "Yo, I'm playing your record right now." So so thanks for the love, brother. I greatly appreciate that for showing the love. But there's nothing more to say. Everybody, I'd like to thank them for tuning in. All the people I mentioned, all the people I didn't mention, all the people that we see on Facebook Live, all the people that's on InTheMix.com who I don't see your names or you're tuned into the app. We thank you all for your support. This is the last week to advertise. Last couple of days to advertise. If you want to advertise in the April 2018 issue of Black Westchester. I know you're like, oh, he's always talking about advertising. You know what? It's the advertising that allows us to keep it free for the people. You understand what I'm saying? So,
That's right.
So that the message gets to all the people that it needs to get to. You know what I'm saying? It's the advertising that allows us
That's right.
to get the word out to the people.
And we're going to have a powerful cover, man.
Oh,
yeah. But I can't wait for this one to come out. I'll tell you that. I'm getting some stuff off my chest in this issue, brother. I'm telling you right now. Be prepared to read that article because I'm going to get some stuff off my chest.
So, yeah, let's holler at me in the next 48 hours. If you want to advertise in this issue, we do have a couple more spots left. And, again, you could be doing anything else, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate. This is Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. We're on every Sunday, 6 to 8, on InTheMixRadio.com. Until next week, happy Easter, happy Palm. We was talking about Jesus real quick about how they did him wrong. Today is the day he rode in. They were throwing palms in, saying, Hosanna, Hosanna.
Hosanna in the highest. And then
5 days later, they're like, crucify him, crucify him. So I just want to throw that out there.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's right.
I'm not sure if we're going to be on next week for Easter, but we will be back. If not, we'll be back on the 8th, and we'll have
Easter's a pagan holiday. They should
yes,
really call it
Passover.
Resurrection Sunday.
That's what resurrection. But if we're not on, we'll be on back on the 8th. and we will have Deborah Stern from the Armani Charter School, and you read
good.
about all of that with the Board of Ethics.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
I was
complaint.
joking about the mayor getting the money for the CCRB, Deborah.
Oh, okay. So anyway, we will have somebody from Armani speak about that whole situation from Armani point of view, so we get all the facts out there from all the different sides. Until next week, or until we come back, peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up.
Thank you,
And
brother.
they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
I got you, brother. You're gonna have the full. I know what you're talking about. You're gonna have the full effect.